How does a guy like this, Tony Davila, flush his life down the toilet and end up like this in prison for the rest of his life? It's real simple. You get together with 5 other dumbasses and do a home invasion robbery and murder somebody. That's how you do it. Let's look how he grew up. Tony was raised in the Key West area, and it is beautiful down there. Very touristy, a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol, southernmost point of the United States. It's glamorized through the drug smuggling and party lifestyle. It's not always rainbows and unicorns down there. And, Tony grew up down there, and he wasn't a big guy, and so what did he do? He resorted to drugs, and that's why he dropped out of school in 9th grade. Tony's older brother, John, was having a bunch of run-ins with the law in 2012 when he was 14. He's since cleaned up his act and has reflected back on it, saying that, quote-unquote, their lives were a mess, or something to that effect, and kind of like telling Tony, we got to stay on the straight and narrow. Unfortunately, Tony did not. After dropping out of school and nothing to do, what did he do? He started hanging around this guy, this John Getro. Now, Getro lived with him and his older brother, John, and, somebody owed him some money, so what did they do? They went over and broke into his house and beat the hell out of him. Here's when they got arrested. They got battery and breaking and entering. Tony sat in jail for 95 days due to the $50,000 bond and his brother not being able to come up with the money. So he gets sentenced and he's given credit for time served and he's put on community control for 24 months. So what does he do? He moves up to Brevard County. Why Coco? Who knows? Maybe to get the hell out of Dodge because everybody knew what a dirtbag he was. Anyway, so he comes up to Brevard County, stays at this place in Coco right here, probably rented a room or something like that. By February 2017, he gets his first probation violation for not being at home. He was at his girlfriend's house, so he says. So he moves again. This time he breaks out the backhoe, and just when you think he's at the bottom of the pit that he's dug himself in, he keeps on a digging, going deeper and fucking deeper because he's supposed to be home. The probation officer comes over. He's not there. So they go in his room to look in it and see what they find. Well, what do they find? They find a .45 semi-automatic pistol in his room. 44 rounds of ammo, over 20 grams of marijuana. They found methamphetamine, hydrocodone, all within 1,000 feet of a specified area. Probably a church or a school, making that a felony alone. And mind you, he already was a convicted felon. Not good for Tony. Not very fucking bright. So Brevard has to ship him back down to the Keys. Remember, he came up here from the Keys. He's going right back down. Digging that hole much, much deeper. So what do you think happens with him? He sits in jail down in Monroe County for 253 days, then is sentenced for 2 years in prison. That's a frickin' slap on the wrist. Remember this picture of him leaving Monroe County and coming up to Brevard County and going back down? You know how long that took? 1 frickin' year. After 11 months, he gets out due to the youthful offender training program. Tony had changed the profile name to his Facebook account, but I wanted to see it just to see how he lived his life. I caught 2 posts of his. This one was right after he got out of prison saying, hey, I just want to get back on my feet. And then the next one was about the death of his father and how hard it is to deal with the loss of his father. His next post kind of frickin' blindsided. You're successful, astonish everyone. Is he going to be good or is he going to be bad? But then you see this fucking post with a bunch of firearms spelling out Trump. You're a frickin' convicted felon. Don't even get near him. Remember he said he was just trying to get back on his feet? Well, he didn't say what he was going to do to get back on his feet. So a year and 2 months after he gets out of prison, he meets this Tyler Graffing kid. Tyler Graffing had known a guy by the name of Matthew Nicol off of Hall Road, and his roommate sold a lot of drugs. He got together with these guys, and a year and 8 months later, they did a home invasion robbery and ended up shooting Matthew's dog and murdering Matthew. So much for going down the straight and narrow, idiot. Those fucking idiots took Matthew's life. He's gone forever, and now it's time to pony up and pay the piper. Well, Tony's post about, hey, I'm just trying to get back on my feet, sort of implies like he's saying, oh, there's so many decisions to make. Bullshit. You just got out of fucking prison. And now, what do you want to do? Do you want to be free or not free? There's a fork in the road, and it's either you break the law or you don't. And what did you choose? You chose to fucking break it, fucker. So what turned this Tony And to this fucking monster right here, it's called piss poor decision making, starting with you dropping out of high school at 9th grade. Some people say it was bad parenting or that he didn't have a good role model in his life. Bullshit. It's all about the fucking decisions that you make as an adult. How I know it's bullshit is because of my own experience. I grew up in a loving household with 2 fantastic parents that were excellent role models, but I didn't listen to them. And I was making bad decisions. I got nobody to blame but myself. By the time I was 18, I'd spent 90 days in jail, and I was facing a 5-year stint in prison if I broke my probation. I didn't hang around any firearms or anything because I knew it would get me in deep shit, but it still didn't matter. Years later, the FBI came into my parents' door looking for me. I had a holy shit, I got to change my life moment. I quit hanging around the bad elements in my life. Later, I got a college degree, and now I have a wife, a family, I own my own house, and most of all, I have my freedom. So that bad parenting or lack of a role model is bullshit. So how did Tony go from this young kid to this frickin' monster in prison? Well, real simple. His decisions. There's nobody else to blame but him. His plan's the one that, got these people to go along with him into the house to rob it. It was his planning. His plan. His decision. And those other saps followed him. His plan got a dog killed and a man murdered. Now they're all going to spend the rest of their lives in prison. What a bunch of fucking idiots.